I like to describe Be the Voice as a student-led movement for kindness and inclusion to counteract bullying and cyberbullying. And we have 3 different program levels. We have elementary, middle, and high school.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Roswell Brew Talks, sponsored by Wellstar North Fulton. Always love having their support. My name is Andy Williams. I'm president and CEO of Visit Roswell, the city of Roswell's official destination marketing organization responsible for promoting tourism. And we have 3 awesome guests today. One who is actually my co-host, Ryan Williams, who is representing Be the Voice as a board member. Also, we have Kendra Smith, who is representing Be the Voice as a board member. And then, of course, Debbie Cwalina, who is the executive director of Be the Voice. So pleasure to have y'all on.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so let's walk it back. We're going to go way back here because, Roswell is home to a very large number of nonprofits.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually like the headquarter city in the state of Georgia for how many nonprofits we have.
Seriously?
And it is, absolutely, yep. And a standout is Be the Voice.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Rotary and how this all came to be, and we're going to walk it back. But I want to give you guys the opportunity to share that with our viewers and really kind of give the lay of the land on really how it started and then how it's evolved today. And I'll ask you some pointed questions about some of the things you're doing and the impacts you're making. But let's go back to when it all began. Give us the history.
When the dinosaurs roamed in Roswell,
All right.
right? Yes. So it all started in 2015 when I joined the Roswell Rotary Club, and I was a new member. And at the same time, I had read an article about the rising rate of adolescent suicide due to cyberbullying. And I grew up with a brother who was developmentally delayed, so I saw the impact it had on him, being excluded, being bullied, and I could not, it broke my heart when I thought that children were actually taking their own lives instead of being, enduring another day of being mistreated. So I met my co-founder, Mike Schoppenhorst, who's
Great
also
guy.
a Rotarian, super nice human being. And together we kind of brainstormed and came up with this plan, which was basically a 12-week video series, which is still the secret sauce to the program today. Program revolves around a 12-week peer-narrated video series. So, and we started in a handful of schools here in Roswell. Kendra was principal at the time at Elkins Point Middle School. And she took the program in, and she's got kind of a funny story about that. But and, we just had our 10-year gala.
Yeah.
And, so I really appreciate this opportunity to share what we do, because if you walk down the street and you see any kid in Roswell and you say, Be the Voice, they know what it is.
Yeah, sure.
The problem is that adults don't know about it.
Right.
And those are the people that need to help us grow the program and get it outside. We are in schools all throughout District 6900, our Rotary district. So we have done very well through Rotary Connections. And we are in 10 different school districts now, sprinkled throughout the state. So we're doing really well. And I'm really, really proud of what we've accomplished.
Yeah,
but it's all Roswell roots. It's got to be in the water. We're just another one of those nonprofits, right?
No, we do have a plenty.
Yeah.
Well, so let's walk back to kind of to talking about those parents. The ones who maybe don't know exactly what you do. Kids come home, maybe they've got a flyer, sticker, T-shirt in their book bag,
Right.
And they're bought into it. The teachers, the school administrators are bought into it. How would you really describe it to the parents? If you had like a 90-second elevator pitch on what you all do and what you do in the school specifically, what does that look like?
So 90 seconds is actually giving me more time than I need.
Okay,
I've
perfect.
actually worked on this. So I like to describe Be the Voice as a student-led movement for kindness and inclusion to counteract bullying and cyberbullying. And we have 3 different program levels. We have elementary, middle, and high school. And it's brought in by a club, an existing student club. And that's just such a blessing to teachers and counselors, because they just don't, there's so many things that are mandated by the Department of Education, programs that they are required to implement as part of their curriculum. And what's beautiful about our program is we just kind of sneak in as a service project that's implemented by a student club.
Yeah.
And it revolves around 12 weeks of peer-narrated videos, which basically are videos by kids sharing stories of how they've changed someone's life through an act of kindness and inclusion.
Yeah.
65% of us are visual learners, so our visual format is immediately absorbed by the students, and they go out and create positive change very same day in many cases when they watch these videos.
Yeah, it's excellent. And Kendra, one of the things Debbie mentioned I think was really interesting is, and it's funny, I guess when we grew up, we didn't really have to think of this. It wasn't a big deal, but now cyberbullying.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's probably where the lion's share of it is if you really think of it. Maybe not, but I mean, I think about the things that we have access to now, and I'm imagining my 6 and 8-year-old one day inheriting all of these things, and it's coming at you from all angles. So what's it like for you, having been principal at Elkins Point? Is that something that occurs on a daily basis? I mean, I'm sure you probably heard some pretty crazy stories.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So this whole notion of social media has just taken, this idea of bullying to a whole nother level. It's a little scary because it's so widespread and how quickly, kids can get their hands on content and move it so quickly across the world and shame a kid in 15 seconds. And it's in the hands of millions of people. So it is something different than what we kind of dealt with growing up. And it goes back to what Debbie was saying earlier. We've got to create a place where kids are kind because they want to be kind. They are inclusive because they know it's the right thing to do, because we can't outrun what this social media platform has created for us in this regard.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you all find that there are discrepancies or gaps between elementary, middle, high, getting into the older kids? Where are you seeing the bulk of the issues, I guess you could say, that need to be addressed?
So I guess having been a principal at all three levels, I've had a chance to somewhat see it all. And Andy, it's really no different. It's mean kids at 6 and mean kids at 16. And those kids at 16 were the mean ones at 6.
Yeah.
So the earlier we can see these types of culture building programs, and we have to call it a program because it is a thing, but it really changes the culture of how a person moves throughout the building and how these kids are grown up in an environment where there's thousands of other kids around them. In their homes, it's different. But you have to deal with, 1,400 kids under one roof. Like in a high school, 1,700 kids under one roof. How do we help all of them understand you got to be kind, you got to be great?
Yeah.
So it does take a bit of a different slant, but it boils down to the basic element of just who we are as humans.
Yep.
Well, and Ryan, you're a board member. One of the things as we kind of relocated to this community 6 years ago, initially you were, wanting to get plugged in, and you're on a number of different boards, but I know you're active on Be the Voice. What is it as a board that drove you all to this organization specifically? Is it the premise of what they are accomplishing, or what's your value?
A lot of it is, as Kendra mentioned, it's starting out making it cool to be nice to people.
Right.
And it's a shame that we have to teach that to little kids. But if I'm thinking back to middle school, we didn't have any of this. We didn't have social media. We didn't have a cell phone in every kid's hand, and it was still excruciatingly difficult.
Right. Yeah.
And so the fact that kids now can be mean anonymously, and I think Debbie, the whole concept of Be the Voice starting with kids as young as ours. I mean, our kids learned about Be the Voice as kindergartners
At Mountain Park,
at Mountain Park Elementary, and I was lucky enough to be a school liaison for Mountain Park when our kids started there for Be the Voice, and so I got to see all the kids get off the bus and run in and be so excited that Be the Voice was there. So it's not like they have to go back and learn not to be a bully. They learn from the very beginning that that's not acceptable, and that they don't want to be the mean kid, and it's not cool to be the mean kid. And so getting that kind of mindset on little children early on, that it's cool to be the nice one. It's cool to go talk to the kid who's sitting on the bench at the playground by himself. You want to be the really good, the bright spot in someone else's day, and learning that from an early age. It is sort of a shame that we have to teach that to kids, but it's important. And I think that was one of the main things that really stuck out to me. Is it's not an anti-bullying. We're not trying to battle bullying. We're trying to start so that it never gets to that.
Right.
And it's teaching people just to be nice from the
I think that's the
very
key.
youngest age.
Well, and I would say too, and Kendra and I have talked about this, we don't go in banging the drum saying, we are an anti-bully program.
Right.
I mean, we are anything but anti. We're pro kindness.
Because then you're playing
We're
defense.
pro-
Like
Yes.
you,
Well, you cast a negative shadow
Yeah.
on it right from the start, and that was one of the things 10 years ago when I was doing research on what can we do to get kids to buy into this, and it was, well, you empowered them to be the change makers, right? A, but B, it's like if you give them examples and show them. You know, that other people their age are doing positive things and making a difference,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, oh, the cool kids are doing it. Well, I'm going to do it.
yeah.
And like Brian said, you know, it is about like making it cool to be kind again. And you always describe. I love the way you describe Be the Voice when you talk about it as a culture changer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole notion of our kids are born in really great homes. We have wonderful kids in our schools. It gives them a chance to pump that good muscle.
Yeah.
And show people what it looks like versus, you know, stomping down and saying, don't be a bully versus be
Yeah.
kind.
You
It's
know,
simple. It's
it's
easy.
interesting
It's
y'all
so
say that.
simple.
I coach a lot of baseball, and we have good kids. We don't have issues with our kids. I mean, they're all great. You know, you can tell the families are great. They're supportive, and I know that's not the case everywhere.
Right.
But the way I look at it, it gives us the opportunity to teach these kids to be leaders, to step in when a kid's
Yes.
getting bullied, to step in and help him out, him or her. You know, to be vocal when you need to be, to assist your mom and dad or your siblings when you need to be, and that's, you know, it's really kind of.
But there's another part of that too, Andy, and that is it's not always about going and interfering or interjecting in a situation where you're scared or nervous. You don't want to be that next target, perhaps.
Right.
It's about empowering the bystanders who are seeing this, then to approach the person, the child who has been mistreated,
Yeah.
and letting them know, hey,
right.
I see you, I know, and I'm sorry I didn't step up because I was scared, but I want you to know what's happening to you isn't right, and I'm sorry, and you know, why don't you come sit with us at lunch?
Yeah,
or
there
you
you
know,
go.
and we're not trying to say, hey, you got to go make best friends with all these people. No, we're just asking you as a student, as a just be a good human.
Yeah.
You know, just go
Yeah.
and be kind to somebody, because if it was you,
Yeah.
you'd want someone to do that.
how you have to
and
look
it's
at it,
simple.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a very
is.
simple concept.
And I think what's exciting for me is that I've had a chance to see it through the lenses of all of the ages of kids. And so at the high school level, like we were a little bit nervous when we were kind of writing
Tell
and
everybody
scripting
where
out.
you are. I don't think we mentioned.
Oh yes, Riverwood International Charter right now in Sandy Springs. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is my 6th year there,
And that's a diverse school. I mean,
it is very diverse,
Yeah.
and it's in so many different beautiful ways. Elkins Point was equally diverse,
Yeah.
as well as Roswell North. All the schools that I've led have had really diverse populations, which is a beautiful challenge to bring people together, to show how can we bring folks together in a diverse environment. How do we create a bit of a harmony type feel inside the house, if you will?
Sure.
And so at the high school, we were a little bit nervous. We were like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna, kids are gonna think bully is weird. But to see the activities and the outlay of this plan, just a couple of weeks ago, our kids got together, and we call it Club Collab. And our kids got together, 4 or 5 different clubs, our Jewish Student Union, our Black Student Union, our Hispanic Student Union, got together to do a Club Collab project on behalf of Be the Voice. And they got together and they wrote note cards, 500 of them, let's say. Went out into the parking lots, put them on every car that was in the parking lot. I think we have 500, 600, however many cars in the park. Guests, visitors, you are kind, you matter.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for being here. Just quick, easy, simple ways of being just that person and just planting that awesome seed. All the way down to the elementary school, to the little buddy bench. What is
Yeah.
it called? Little Sammy's
Buddy Bench.
Sammy's Buddy Bench.
Yeah.
Like, come have lunch with me. Like,
yeah.
that is,
Yeah.
it just really is cool. Because let's face it, we're in a world and a time right now that's just really not so pretty.
No.
And getting along is something that we need to push.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree.
And so this is just so awesome for me. And I think that when I think about easy and simple, but most impactful and powerful in our buildings, this is it.
So, and that leads me to my next question here. It started out as an idea that came from Rotary. good intentions. Hey, what's this going to look like? What was that defining moment when you saw the shift from a good campaign or an idea to, oh my gosh, we're actually making an impact that we can see right now? Like, this is the game changer.
So we started in 2016 because we had implemented a survey at Roswell High School, which at the time was like a 2,100 student school. And we had implemented a pre and post student survey. And so the 10th question on that survey was, I am a victim of bullying. And after just 12 weeks of a minute video, and these videos, by the way, are shown school-wide, so the school takes a moment, shows the video, everybody watches it, and then they go on with their day. But at the end of the 12 weeks, and so you figure school, if the video's 1 minute long, it's 12 minutes the school is giving.
Yeah.
A mere 12 minutes. We had a 56% reduction in bullying on that question that I was a victim of bullying.
I would say that's a turning point.
Yes.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
And
Wow.
then we became a 501c3 in 2017, and we have never looked back. And now,
Knocked on our doors.
yeah,
I'm like, what are you? Who are you?
I know. Tell them that. That is a funny story.
It's kind of funny. Well, on my second day of work at Elkins Point, my front office, beautiful assistant, came back to my office and she goes, Kendra, there's someone here. Her name is Debbie, and she wants to talk to you about a bullying program. I thought, oh my gosh, not another
one.
program.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've got 1,000 in my inbox. I've got
Yeah.
1,000 on my desk. And they said, well, she's really, really nice. And I said, okay, well, okay, have her back. Hands down, it didn't take her but 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I said, oh my gosh. I said, I'm sold. This is, let's jump in. She was like, really? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And have not turned back. That was 10 years ago.
Did you mention that at the gala?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Love
I
it.
did.
Great transition, too, because you guys just had your gala. Ryan,
did.
talk about how fun that was and what that looked like.
that
It was
so cool?
awesome. It was at the Roswell Country Club. Great venue, a lot of space.
And another great community organization, the Country Club of Roswell.
Oh, yeah.
They
Country Club
gave
of Roswell,
us
that's
a
right.
great price.
No, it was
And
fair.
Mary Robichaud was instrumental in getting that for us.
awesome.
And Ryan was on the planning committee. And
We had a great time.
Yeah, you were hauling centerpieces.
Oh, yeah.
after the
Yeah,
Insight
thanks to
program.
Roswell for donating all of our centerpieces that were from Insight earlier in the same day.
Yeah.
But it was a great program. We had a blast.
great.
I think that was one of the most. We go to a lot of galas. We go to a lot of events, and it was a really fun one. It stood out. I mean, partially because all of you guys are my dear friends, but we had a great night. We raised great money for Be the Voice. I think we got some very good publicity for Be the Voice, and I just wish more people knew. I think there are more adults, to your point, that need to be students of Be the Voice.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody needs a little bit of niceness in their day,
reminder,
and so it was just a really fun, happy event. We had a blast.
yeah.
So when you guys are on your board calls, and you've taken several from the house, I get to eavesdrop and listen, and always find it interesting. What are you guys accomplishing? What are those things that are on the horizon that you're looking to say, okay, what is that next iteration of Be the Voice, or how do we grow and expand? What's that look like?
Statewide, baby.
Okay.
Yes.
I think just getting the program in front of more and more kids. Obviously, it started here in Roswell. We have a great traction here in Roswell and surrounding areas, but the kids in Roswell are not really the ones that even need the program the most.
That's right.
Right.
It really needs to get to some of the schools who don't have the budget for these types of programs. And it's not like it's a crazy expensive program. They're just scrapped,
right.
especially during COVID. COVID was a tough
Yeah.
few years because everybody was getting budget cuts everywhere. But it's just such a valuable, important program that we need to get in every school.
Well,
every kid needs this.
Absolutely.
And one of the things too, and I think you heard this at the gala, but I think it's notable and we need to mention is the impact that we know it works. We see it, because we're working with these kids. We see them. But Fulton County School District is one of our largest districts that has the program. They've been with us. Well, Kendra was, Elkins Point is a Fulton County school. And they've been with us a long time, and they've had a number of schools enrolled year after year, and they keep growing the school because, and I finally said, can you give me some data? Because that's how I'm going to grow this program. Everybody wants to hear data, right? And so they told me, the assistant superintendent, Dr. Chris Matthews, shared with me that out of the entire district, there was 28 schools enrolled at that time in 21 to 23, and they had, compared to the schools, Fulton County schools not enrolled in the program, the Be the Voice schools, and these were elementary, middle, and high schools, those 28 schools had a 91% reduction in bullying incidents in elementary. 77% in middle, and then 95% in high school.
Those are massive numbers.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
And
Massive
again,
numbers.
think about it, 12 minutes,
Yeah.
12 or 24 minutes. If the videos range from a minute to 2 minutes. At the very minimum, you can just show the videos, but we also include
Yeah.
programs, activities that are networking activities like Kendra's note card, activity that her school's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Very clever idea. Just little things that don't take school time
So
away.
that's my next question then. So it seems like for the schools, a relatively low lift, right? High impact. That,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the data's there.
Yeah.
And I don't expect you to speak negatively about any school or district or anything
No.
like that. But why are they saying no? Why are there some that you can't get to buy in?
Money.
Money. Okay. Interesting.
Yep. And we've not, to date, we have never had anybody tell us no.
Yeah.
When we go, if it's being sponsored by Rotary, if a district's picking up the tab for it, the problem is a lot of these schools, $2,600 is the cost of the program. This is a 12-week video series, but the activities last for 6 months, 5 to 6 months. You can do them or not do them. You get a huge booster kit of all this logoed merchandise that basically leaves a lasting message.
T-shirts and posters and
Yep,
markers.
Yeah.
that,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
there
Note
for
cards.
6
Sure.
months. So you can't really go into a school if it's a Be the Voice school and not see something that reminds you that we're there and what we're doing. But I think now that we're starting to get data back,
Yeah.
Andy, that's going to really help
I think
us.
so, too.
And the Georgia school climate, there were a number of questions that we also had Kendra help me find that showed the impact Be the Voice schools were making in the area of
Yeah.
social emotional well-being, and I mean we're just starting to gather this stuff now.
yeah.
It's getting it out there and promoting
Now it's
that
time to
kind
hit
of
your
stuff.
stride. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this has been fantastic. I want to give you
Yes.
guys the opportunity to make sure all of our viewers, we have a good bit, have access to your information. So
Sure.
what is the easiest way to see what you're doing, follow along, get plugged in? Where can they get you?
Yep. So Be the Voice org.
Okay.
We have Instagram, we have Facebook, and it's Be the Voice ORG, and the or it's 0 RG, depending if somebody beat me to the punch.
Okay.
When I
Gotcha.
And then our website is bethevoice.org with a
Okay.
hyphen, be-the-voice.org.
Got it.
So, yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Debbie, Kendra, Ryan, great to have y'all on.
Yes,
really
Andrew,
appreciate
thank
it.
you for
Good
hosting.
luck with everything in the future.
Thank
Let
you.
us know if we can be a resource, and pleasure having you on Roswell Brew Talk.
Be the
Cheers.
voice.
Thank you.
Be the voice.